Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Kitty. Alright, and we're going to be exploring another website from my childhood called KiddONet. I don't know how many of you will remember this website. This was like an old, kind of like message board-esque website for kids. It obviously was directed towards kids. It had a lot of games on it. It had digital paper dolls that you would, dress up. It had comics, it had art. There was a lot of stuff on here. And it came to me last night when I was trying to go to bed that I remember playing this, oddly enough, back in about 2005. So I'm on the Wayback Machine, and I pulled up the website to see if it was even accessible. And thankfully, with the power of the Wayback Machine and Ruffle emulator, I was able actually to pull this up. The date that I have for this is, I believe, November 26th, 2005, I think is the point that I'm entering in. But it's funny because out of everything that this website had, I don't remember any of this stuff necessarily. Like, I remember some of it. I remember this, the doll stuff, and this, the avatar thing, and I think maybe this crying I heart. But, oh, and the GirlSense. I remember the GirlSense Club. But the thing that I remember the most for some reason was this banner. I remember this banner for some reason. But I remember about 2005, 2005, I was 10 years old. So I played this back around that time. So very much like the Zodiac Girls website that we did years ago, I am just going to go through the entire website and just see what exactly I can get my grubby little hands on, basically. What is still active and what can I still do? I will say that with some of the games, though, I don't know how many of them are going to be playable, to be honest. At least from the Wayback Machine. If they're not, I do actually have Flashpoint pulled up on the side with the search term of KiddONet. So if there is a game on there that we cannot play on the website, I will definitely try to see if I can play it on Flashpoint, just so at least that way we have a record of what exactly this game was, as well as to offer you guys another outlet for where you can play this game. So right now I'm just on the homepage of KiddONet. Yes, there was a sign in and login and everything, and yes, I do remember at 10 years old, signing up for an account. This was, I think, before the requirement of COPPA, where it was like, oh, you have to be 13 years of age or older. But I think it also kind of fell under a different category because it was a site targeted for children. You also have the My Notes section, which I don't know if it's going to be even accessible. No, it's not accessible. Obviously, a lot of stuff that's up here on this top banner is for if you have an account or not. I'm tempted to see if I can still join. I did get to the registration page, but obviously a lot of stuff was broken. I'm also a little hesitant in putting in my email into a server that is over 20 years old. This is slightly broken, but I do remember this portion. So I just hit the My Homepage link, and it brought me to this page, this yes, 2000s, but giving more 90s vibes of a website. So we can create a homepage or we can see other homepages. I'm going to try to create one myself. I'm not logged in or anything like that, so I probably can't save it, but I want to see if I can create one. If we can't, I will then go back and try to see if we can see other people's archived homepages. So when we get to that portion, if you see your homepage, oh, yeah, I gotta log in. Nope. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, there's a bunch of other home pages we can view here. I'm not gonna go through all of them, of course. I am just gonna go through some of them. I don't know how many I'm gonna pick, because some of these usernames are like... I'm picking them based on username right now. But if you do see your username on here, if you even remember your username from back then, let me know, because I'm interested to see... I'm interested to see who remembers this website and who even remembers their username for. I don't remember mine. I'm sure it was something along the lines of Air Kitty or something, because I've had that pen name for so long. Let's look at Black Princess 13's homepage. This is a lot more chipper for Black Princess 13. Oh my goodness. So obviously I don't think it's necessarily going to be coming up with anything too much, but I did remember this idea of being able to make the homepage. Although I think there might have been an age restriction on it, only because obviously there was the idea that you could potentially share information. But let's see. So obviously we got the About Me section, the My Friends, My Family, My Pets, My AOL Cartoon Dolls, My Room, Fun Links, My Games, Card Maker. Then there's Creations. And this was something that you did need an account for. If there was anything that was anything creative that you could make on the website, you needed that so you could save it. Obviously, we're not going to save anything. But so there's the Cartoon Dolls, Superheroes, Comics, Graffiti, Gel Sparks, and Sea Dolls. I don't remember what Sea Dolls are. I think it was like the updated version of like Cartoon Dolls or something. But then here's this little description. And yes, I am going to read this because it's out there for the public. So, to all my fans out here, peace and blessings to you. I am here to tell you that I am fun-loving, special, and beautiful. I am 13 years old. I am the only girl, and that is nerve-wracking. My brothers and I have so much fun. We play basketball, softball, and sometimes soccer. I beat them sometimes, but not often. Come and drop me a note sometime, and I will get back to ASAP. Come on by and view my page, and help me reach my goal of 1,000. Once you get to know me, hopefully we could make a lasting friendship out of this. Anyway, ta-ta for now. Hope you enjoy yourself here at KiddONet. Smooches. P.S. Gotta say what up to my girls out here. BXCutie14, Fancy Face 13, Gorgeous Deja 12, Foxy Girl 1989, and Giggles 091991. Check their pages. I'm sure that whoever this page belongs to, if they are seeing this video, they are cringing right now. Honestly, that actually wasn't that bad. That was definitely probably one of the better pages I'm gonna find on this entire website. It was very cute. Though I do want to know the inspiration for your pages. That is definitely something I would love to hear from people if they again remember their pages or whatnot. What exactly was the inspiration behind their home pages? And obviously, if they remember what their home pages originally looked like and if this matches up. I doubt it. I can't even remember what my stuff looked like from back then. So that was Black Princess 13, yes. It was funny because now looking through the list again, I do actually see some of the people that she had mentioned, like BXCutie and Giggles here. I'm going to skip over them for right now because right above her, I did see the Inuyasha Lover 1292, and I did always think this was really funny that there were so many people that loved Inuyasha around this time, because a lot of the kids were around like preteen or like, like the 9 or 10 range that were playing this, as far as I can remember. And a lot of people really loved Inuyasha at the time. So this person is literally just shouting out the show Inuyasha. But same links and everything on the side. The description is just now always watch Inuyasha at 9 on Cartoon Network. Yeah, I miss when anime used to show on Cartoon Network. The Tsunami program and stuff like that. That's where I actually probably watched a lot of my anime and such. That's where I got introduced to shows like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z, Bobo, Naruto. And there was one more, I think. I think even for a very short period, I remember a very, very short period, Sailor Moon was also on Cartoon Network, but it showed in the mornings, I believe. But again, it was very, very short. I do not remember a lot about the showing and the programming and stuff like that. But yeah, I missed that. I think the only other anime that I watched as a kid, but it wasn't on Cartoon Network, it was on Toon Disney, I think. It was like, I think part of the Disney stuff at the time, was Beyblade. Beyblade was another one I got into as a kid. Sims Forever 2. Back in the golden age of the Sims. Well, at least we got one with some color. I don't know if these little images are supposed to be here. This is apparently belonging to a girl named Cassie. And she wanted to let everyone know that she dyed her eyebrows brown so no one knows she's blonde. Good for you, Cassie. Good for you. Okay, so I tried to go onto the My Calendar just to see if anything would come up. Of course, it came up with the login page, so unfortunately, nothing to do with My Calendar. I'm going to skip the select activity section, though, just because it's just going to list out, I believe, all the games and everything you can do on the website, which I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to find it more organically going through all of these channels. Obviously, not a lot of this really pertains to us, but I am kind of interested because one thing I never actually found out about the site was who actually ran it. And I'm actually wondering who was behind the website of KiddONet. Well, I guess it's not that much, but I was going to say it looked like a lot of information at first. But I'll only touch on a couple of these different links here. But basically, so what is KiddONet? KiddONet is a total internet environment for children ages 7 to 12. KiddONet also offers KiddONet Junior, featuring fun games and activities for younger ages 3 to 7. Depending on how far we get in this video, it might go into this section. I might just save it for the next video. Don't know. But KiddONet's mission is to offer kids an online space with high-quality content and web tools that allow them to create, learn, play, and communicate safely. More than anything else these days, kids want to use the internet to connect and communicate with their friends. KiddONet has developed safe, kid-friendly web tools that allow our users to communicate online with kids they know. Using advanced internet technologies, the KiddONet team is continuously developing new features and content in the following areas. Creativity, activities that give kids the opportunity to create and post their creations online and or send them to friends. And then there's a list of different things like the homepage creator, the comic strips, the graffiti art, the gel sparks art. And there's a team of experienced monitors reviewing all creations before posting them publicly on the web. That's good, at least. Another thing that they promote is community, web tools that allow kids to express themselves and communicate safely with people they know online, safe webmail, unique multimedia e-cards, and coming soon multiplayer games. I don't think I was around for the multiplayer games. Maybe. I don't remember. I don't even know if they even developed it. It still says coming soon. But again, this is on the 2005 portion of the Wayback Machine. If I remember correctly, there were some pings in like 2019, somewhere in the 2010s. So KiddONet did have a very long longevity. I vaguely remember the webmail stuff. Like, I remember just so I read this, like, I remember it not being my first email address, But I remember it being like the first kind of like web communication I had with other people, like on a forum or a board or something. And I remember just feeling so mature, feeling so grown up, because I had something that a lot of people had at the time. And of course, the e-cards and everything. I still kind of wish we had e-cards, because email is still a very popular thing. I understand to an extent why we don't have them. It more than likely is probably a security reason, but I still wish that they'd come back. Just something funny that you could send to friends and everything. But then the last thing is content. Original, unique, educational content that is updated regularly. I don't know what regularly means to them, if it means every day, every week, every month. Don't know. But so, original activities about animals, history, and archaeology, sports, and more. I don't remember the archaeology bit, but now I'm interested. And then KiddONet has two primary products, KiddONet.com and KiddONet Complete. I am just going to look at KiddONet Complete because I am curious what that is. I have an idea, but I don't know for certain. Well, we may also have just one more thing that we can add to the list of things we're probably going to do for this playthrough, I suppose. KiddONet Complete is KiddONet's software package that can be downloaded from KiddONet.com or distributed on CD. This software package includes the KiddONet Safe browser and 3 separate age-based activity areas. Kids on Board, ages 3 to 6, the Fast Lane, ages 7 and up, and the Place for Parents and Teachers. What is KiddONet's Safe browser? Using KiddONet's kid-friendly Safe browser, children have the freedom to surf the net and explore its positive aspects without gaining access to inappropriate sites and material. KiddONet's Safe browser A gives kids access to the web through the following gateways: great sites. B. Okay, so it's just showing me on there. Websites selected by KiddONet's editorial and content experts. My favorites. C. Parents can add sites that they choose together with their children. When a site is added to the approved list, the browser allows free surfing within the domain, but does not allow linking to sites that are outside that domain. KiddONet's browser does not allow children to type in URL addresses such as search the web or leap from a pre-selected site to a provided link. Okay. Kids on Board offers download and own activities, mini programs that can be played anytime without connecting to the internet, as they remain on the hard drive without using a lot of memory or space. Connecting to the internet provides additional content such as new pictures to color, animations, and songs to sing and record, as well as a link to KiddNet Junior, KiddONet's online early learning center. And then the Fast Lane gives access to all of the activities on KiddONet.com. That's actually a pretty cool thing. That is something that I've always been really, I say interested in, but I mean more concerned. Something that I've always been very concerned about is the idea of kids being on the internet, even in today's society, probably even more so in today's society. Obviously, one of the things that I remember having a talk about when we had the internet and when we got a computer that had internet access to it was the idea of, internet safety, making sure not to share any information about ourselves to people that we didn't know in real life, making sure not to talk to strangers online, and, reporting them when they seemed that they were being a little too friendly to you, like they were trying to get information out of you for whatever reason or another. So that is something that we've had talks about when I was a kid. I wonder if kids today have those talks, but it is kind of funny because I am interested to know or to see if there's any studies to see if kids back when I was a kid, if we were technically safer online, or if kids today are safer online. Because I almost would argue that kids today are probably actually less safe than kids were back then. And the only reason why I see that is because obviously I do still see a lot of kids today still putting information, out there, still providing information. They have accounts for things that maybe they shouldn't have accounts for, in a sense, such as like social media, YouTube, stuff like that. And as well as the fact of, don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm necessarily going to ever blame a parent for just giving a kid like a device to play. I will say one thing that I think a lot of parents have forgotten is that, well, I don't think they've forgotten it, but one thing that I think they forget to think about is the fact of kids are dumb and kids have no boundaries. Even with parental controls, installed, yes, it is a great thing. Obviously, I will advocate parental controls for kids and their devices and everything else, because it is one security step that you can take for your children. The other thing is just making sure to actually watch what they're doing. I know it can't be done all the time, which is why you do the parental controls. Of course, the parental controls are there for when you can't watch your child. But, just being present when your child is on their device, in a sense. You're like, what they're doing, what they're playing, what the circumstances are, you've vetted the program and everything. Just because the fact of, a lot of the things that we worried about back in the day are still a concern today. So that's my little spiel. But let me know, who is behind KiddONet now? Because I have a feeling it's not just one person. I would actually be really impressed if it was just one person. KiddONet's team is comprised of highly skilled software developers, talented multimedia designers, graphic artists, educational professionals, and site monitors. A majority of KiddONet's team members are also parents and former teachers who care about quality media for their children and yours. KiddONet was conceived in 1996 and has been in operation since early 1997 as a subsidiary of GitEco. Is that GitEco, I'm guessing? GitEco specializes in the development of cutting-edge software and technologies with a special emphasis on web-based content, training, education, and online technical support. A privately held company, GitEco, was established in 1992 and currently employs over 110 people. The company's offices are located in New York, Tokyo, and Israel. But that's actually really cool. I assumed it was probably a company that was behind this website, but I'm glad to know, in a sense, that a lot of the people behind KiddONet obviously are people who are concerned with children and their safety and stuff like that. This isn't just to get a quick buck off of kids and stuff like that and praying to God that they'll steal mommy's credit card to buy everything in sight. It's people that actually care about children and their well-being and their safety, and as well as the fact of their education. But yeah, so just a small little thing I wanted to look at. So let's go back to the homepage and look at some of the stuff there. Okay, so now we're back on the homepage. I know that there's a lot going on in here. This was, again, a very typical 90s and 2000s website style where you had like all these like animated banners to entice you to click on something. But we're actually going to focus our attention over here and just kind of go down the channels to see what exactly there is. Now, seeing this page, oh my god, there's music. I didn't know that there was music. Gonna mute that real quickly because we were on a website from 2005. I didn't realize that there was gonna be sound, so that's why I'm not wearing headphones. But what I was gonna say was that I remember spending a lot of time on this page. I also thought it was funny because I remember seeing some of the creations and making fun of them as a child. And I remember telling my mom something along the lines of, like, people on this website that wouldn't know fashion if it hit them in the face. I remember my mom just being like, right. Like, not really agreeing with me. Probably in her head, she's thinking, I've seen you get dressed in the morning. You wouldn't know fashion if it hit you in the face either. And she would probably be right. But let's see if I have improved. So let's start with create cartoon girls. And see where that gets us. If it gets us anywhere. Of course. Only works in Internet Explorer. And I don't have Internet Explorer because that's a security hazard. So, no. Okay, so unfortunately can't play any of the fashion games. As far as I'm seeing. Okay, we got something. The Makeup Girl. So we've got a couple different things, and of course, one of them, the GirlSense members, make yourself over. I remember really wanting to do this, but never could. Let's try putting makeup on one of the other dolls. Nope, gotta log in. Pretty sure my makeup dolls is gonna be I have to log in. Yep. What about the best of the makeup dolls? Cool, I can at least see that. Maybe. Oh my gosh. There was a loading screen for the loading screen. Perfect. I can't tell if it's just trying to load in and it's just really, really slow. Because this girl's face just randomly popped in. Beautiful. Well, we got some details, I guess, so. This empty frame. We don't know who it's by. We don't know who the makeup artist is. We don't know the desired look or the favorite makeup style. We'll never know, I guess. But that's basically what that's what I would expect. I want to see if this leads us to a sign-in page of some sort, or like the GirlSense login registration stuff. It's not all loading incorrectly, but as you can see, it says why a credit card. And so you can see that it's a subscription service. Yeah, right when I saw this as a child, I was like, yep, there is no way my mother is paying for that. It was a service that I never got to really enjoy or I know anything about. So obviously, if you guys out there know anything about it, and know of any of the extra perks that maybe aren't shown here, or, you know, some of the other stuff that, like, I wouldn't be able to get into, so, like, this, the making yourself over, let me know. Because that is something that I never got to enjoy, and I now never will. Sad. So, the next one is the cartoon dolls. We probably won't be able to play any of these. However, I do remember that these did change out with the season. So, obviously, where we are viewing this in December, November of 2005, we have the winter collection. I'll see if I can pull these up again from here. Maybe it'll lead to a different link or something like that. Probably won't. But a girl can dream. So yeah, a lot of stuff in the fashion tab, as well as like the cartoon dolls and the sea dolls, doesn't really work. I either need to have Internet Explorer play it, or a time machine. And I don't have either. So, looks like we're back to the main page, and we're going to look at the NetGames. Hopefully we'll have some better luck with this. I do know, thankfully, that there are some games that are still accessible on Flashpoint. I'm pretty sure. I think. It is kind of funny because, again, looking at this, I do remember some of these games. Like, I do remember Muppy. But it looks like the categories are laid out over here. So we have the Game Station, which I'm going to guess is just regular arcade games. Speedomania, racing games. Sports Scene, sports games. puzzling pictures, puzzle games, cool quizzes. Oh, good. We know how much I love quizzes, actually. So there's all quizzes, board games, word and number games, Think Zone, which I'm not really sure what that is. I wonder if it's like just logic puzzles. Like this is jigsaw puzzles and this is like logic puzzles. The drawing board, which I'm going to guess is like art games, and then holiday games. So let's see what we have available to us in Game Station. Oh my word. There are so many. Part of me wants to pick just a classic like Breakout or Muppy or something like that, or like Pong. Just something quick. But at the same time, like I also want to pick out the most interesting one. Like Tony's Teddy or Nobby. Or even Plant World. I'm kind of interested to know what is Tony's Teddy, if that comes up. Help Tony guide his Teddy through action-packed levels of jump and run action. Pick up the key to open the door to the next stage and build clouds that Teddy can walk on to reach the exit. Tony has 5 chances to get his Teddy out of there. To start playing, click the start button or enter a stage password by clicking enter password. Use the arrow keys to move Teddy. Use the spacebar and arrow keys to set or delete cloud blocks. Press F1 if you get stuck, though you'll lose a life. Good luck. Play small version? Nope. Can't do that. And I do not see Tony's Teddy listed in the games of KiddONet. Obviously, there are not many games that are going to be preserved. So I'm going to go through and open tabs up to see which one of these actually does still work, and we'll go from there. But at least now we get to see what were the games that were available on the website. Okay, so there's actually quite a few games that still work. Not as many as I would like, but more than I was expecting. So the games that do still work: Future Impact, it looks like, Flash Pinball, Neve Invaders, Core Invaders, Core Pong, Ghost 2000, Tetris, Breakout, Plant World, and Flash Pac-Man. So far, those are all the games that still work. So the next category is Speedomania, which again offers quite a few games. Don't know how many of them actually will work, but I'm going to go through and see which ones actually work, which ones can we actually start and play, possibly. Okay, so again, not many games were able to be pulled up, but there were quite a few that were still playable. The ones that were still playable, though, so Night Fairy, Crashdown, Ponky, Pork Hearts, Fruital Panic, Frogget, Snake Mania, and Ballistic Biscuit. I did also think it was funny because on one of the games, I don't remember which one it is, I'll probably have to see it in the URL to find it, but in one of the games, it apparently led me to the GirlSense part of the site, and I finally got to see the entire message for GirlSense that we've been seeing like pop up everywhere. So a message from GirlSense team: due to circumstances beyond our control, GirlSense must close. This decision was made with a lot of consideration for our amazing fans, people just like you. Given a change in resources, we could no longer service the community with the quality and diligence we are proud to maintain and that you, our loyal followers, have come to expect from us. We have received an overwhelming response and would like to thank you for your passion and commitment to the community. In answer to many of your questions, please be aware that GirlSense fashions, e-boutiques, and account information will no longer be accessible. In addition, any GSense, which I'm going to guess is their premium currency, you may have earned will no longer be applicable. We have enjoyed every minute of providing you with this fun, fashion-forward site. We thank you again for being a valued part of the GirlSense community and wish you the best of luck. Please direct all comments to info@girlsense.com, which I'm fairly certain does not exist anymore either. And I'm not going to email it to find out. I'm sure they've been through enough. We're going to let them go with as much dignity as they have left. But I thought that was kind of interesting to include here just because, like, I saw this portion, a message from the GirlSense team, and then maybe like bits and pieces of each of these paragraphs. But of course, it's just to confirm that I will never be able to enjoy that idea of luxury, I guess. Again, I don't know how luxurious it actually was, but now I'll never know. Anyways, but yeah, it's nice to know that some of these games do still work. Trying to see some of the games that are mentioned, such as Futile Panic, Core Pong, Core Invaders, I believe, Night Fairy, Ponky, Snake Mania. Yeah, those ones thus far are also on Flashpoint. There are games here that I'm seeing that I don't think have been recovered on Flashpoint, such as Ballistic Biscuit and Frogget. But of course, the advantage to having Flashpoint is that obviously, if you get the complete edition, I don't remember what exactly it's called, but the complete edition that allows you to play games offline once they're downloaded, basically, yeah, you can play them whenever you want. This way, you unfortunately have to have not only internet accessibility and a browser, but you also have to have the Ruffle emulator or some kind of Flash emulator add-on to your browser. And that's if it's allowed. I don't exactly know what Chrome is doing. Doesn't seem to be having too much of a trouble with the Flash emulator stuff, but add-ons such as like ad blocker and stuff they are beginning to get away with. Or rather, they're starting to get away from. Which is why I shall probably purely be sticking to Firefox unless I absolutely need to use Chrome for whatever reason. But now sports. Does not seem to be as many sports games. I do see some of them mentioned on Flashpoint as well, but again, I'm going to go through and just see which ones actually come up. So again, not many of the games. I'd probably say about a third of these games are actually going to be accessible from the KiddONet website. I think all of these games, the sports ones at least, are also on Flashpoint. The ones that are available are like Core Putt, Carpet Golf, and 10-pin bowling. So those are the three that actually still work. Puzzles does not seem to be doing as well either. Seems like a lot of the page is broken. And it doesn't look like we have too many puzzles to go through. Yep, so none of the puzzles actually work as far as I can tell. The treasures seem to be something that was connected to GirlSense, so that's no longer available. Pirate Pieces and Puzzlesaurus no longer were available. And Lovely Puzzle seemed to maybe be available. It required there to be a pop-up, which I'm not going to take any chances on right now. So I'm just going to say that the puzzles don't work. Going to the quizzes, we again don't have a whole lot of them, but it does seem like some of them might be available. Who says it's still loading, but it's also asking for a pop-up, so I don't think that's necessarily working, but it is available on Flashpoint, so you can play it there. I don't remember what this one was. I think it was like How Silly or something, but the top says these pants taste good. The prompt is to click the kid or pet that could have said the sentence shown above. Cute. Trivia Mania. Looks like it still works. It's also available on Flashpoint. And this is the Find It game, which looks to be kind of like a hidden pictures type of game. And again, it is also available on Flashpoint. So now we're on to the All Aboard game section. Again, another one that actually has quite a few games on it. Unfortunately, though, only like a third of them work. As I was finding out, especially from this section, there was a lot of games that were from the GirlSense website, which is kind of weird to me, I guess, that there were games that were exclusive to the GirlSense website, meaning that you had to have a premium account in order to play it. But out of the ones that are listed here, the ones that were available were Naval Flight, which was basically Battleship, Bubble Blaster, which I don't exactly remember how to describe this game, but it's the one where, you have the bubble at the bottom, you got the bubbles at the top, you gotta shoot the one bubble that's the same color as the other ones to pop it and get rid of them on the screen. That game. Flash Chess, which is just chess. Naval Hexagon, which I believe is just Simon Says or something like that. Oh, no, sorry. Neve Simon is Simon Says. Neve Hexagon, I have no idea what it is. Color Lines, don't remember what this one was. And The Great Guinea Pig Race, which is, I believe, a board game. Just a regular old board game. But yeah, so those are the games that are available, at least. Not much more to say about them, just cute little games. So surprisingly, Words and Numbers has even less games that are available. Which kind of sucks because the Words and Numbers game I was actually really looking forward to. There are literally only 2 games that actually still work. And they are Word Across, which is just a crossword puzzle game. And I don't remember what this one was. I'm trying to look for it in the title or in the URL, and I don't see it. But I'm gonna guess it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle of some sort. But these seem to be the only 2 games that even slightly or remotely work, which is kind of a bummer. I know for me growing up, the Words and Numbers game I wouldn't have really cared about because I feel like a lot of the games I would have been playing would have been in the game station. Maybe Puzzling Pictures, the quizzes, or the board games. And I would have thought Words and Numbers would have been so boring because I'm like, oh my god, I have to learn. But now being an adult, I'm like, Words and Number games are actually the ones that I find the most interesting now. I have the most fun with those because they stimulate my brain. But that kind of sucks because the ones I really want aren't even there. So we're on to Think Zone now. Oh, it's starting to get a little cold in here, actually. Ugh. Gonna wrap myself in my blankie. Okay, so again, out of the Think Zone games, again, only about a third of them even work. One thing I am noticing is the fact of, it seems like a lot of the games at the beginning of the list usually work, but then as you keep going down the list, they stop working. Again, one of the patterns I found was that a lot of the games were part of the GirlSense website, so big reason for why they aren't working now. But again, out of this list of games that we do have, the ones that do actually work are Diamonds, Green Hunter, Mastermind, Alien, Insectopia, Transistos, Highway, Cylinder, Mensula Snails. Oh, no, never mind. Error in setting up. It doesn't work. My bad, taking out a list. Drum Lessons, and 3D Crates. Those are the only ones that work. But now onto the drawing board games. And again, not many of them. The only one that actually worked was Garden Planner. Literally the only one. So yeah, that only leaves holiday games, which I don't know if it's really going to have much in it. Or if they're all going to be working. But yeah, again, so opened up all the games, only 2 of them actually work. The 2 that work are Egg Drop and Holiday Hunt, both Easter games. However, there are some of the holiday games, such as Creepy Castle and Frosty Family, available on Flashpoint. So again, kind of using those as a combination, you might actually get quite a few of the games, available. One thing I thought about, though, why is it that they had, like, a premium thing for girls, but they didn't have a premium thing for guys? Like, the GirlSense stuff, they had a premium stuff for that, even on some games that were kind of more like unisex games, but they didn't have it for the guys. Not that I think that they were necessarily keeping the guys out and saying, no, you can't do this, but obviously GirlSense was very obviously targeted towards stereotypical girls. So I'm pretty sure any 10-year-old boy was not going to say, oh, I got a premium subscription to GirlSense because I wanted to be able to play Frogger or something like that. He's not going to say that. Not back in the early 2000s. So yeah, it just kind of seems weird that they only had it for the girls, but nothing for the guys. Sorry, guys. But we checked out all the games. Now let's check out the Sendums, which I'm going to assume is the e-cards and stuff like that. So yeah, e-cards. For any of you that don't know what e-cards are, or you've just never received one, or you never sent one, they were essentially, it was kind of like getting like a postcard in the mail. It's nothing too extensive. It doesn't have like a huge message on it, but it was like a cool animated picture that you got in your email. Typically from like your friends and stuff they would send you. Sometimes it'd be like of different characters. Like I know Garfield.com had them at one point. Scooby-Doo, I think, had them. There was a lot. Diva Stars, I'm sure, even had them. And Barbie, I know, had them. But yeah, so sometimes the e-cards would have games on them too. Not usually, but sometimes. And it was kind of a way to just either promote the brand or to promote, a service of some sort. Usually kids stuff. It was a way of advertising to an extent. But let's see, create and send an e-card. Let's see if we can do it. Crush mail. How big is your crush? If we're asking about my crushes back then, devastatingly so. Typically, the feelings were not reciprocated and I was crying for weeks. Funnygrams. So I'm gonna guess those are funny ones. Send a special lady cards. Send a little clickable love. Send some rhymes that stick, and send some smileys, and his story. Send cards to a special man. Oh, these are all so cute. Let's see if we can send some crush cards. We're getting a lot further than I thought. Probably not going to get much further, but why not? So what you want to tell your crush? Pick a picture to help you say it. I can't see what any of these are, so this one looks good. So thankfully, they do not keep the email addresses, which is great. I am going to send this to myself, and we're gonna see if this actually goes through. Okay, so I couldn't send the other one, but the his story one was an interactive thing that I did have to put together. And while I can't see any of the pictures, I thought before I send it and maybe it don't work, I thought I'd read you the story. Don't pay attention to this thing on the side that says preview your Father's Day story before you send it. This isn't about my father at all. You'll see who it's for. It's also an imaginary person, so don't think it's like somebody real. But the cool thing is that I can also print my creation if I want to, which I'm tempted to do so if it will. I don't think it will send the image information because it's not even showing up here. I legit have no idea what the pictures look like. So let me read you this wonderful story I put together. So, his book is all about my ex. Let me tell you a few things about him. When he isn't working, he likes to sleep. He always has a back pain, and he always says, "Make me a sandwich." Meals are always interesting. There are certain foods he won't touch, like chocolate. But if you gave him moldy cheese, he would barf. Watching TV is also fun. His favorite TV program is Barney. He never misses it, unless he misses it. He gets excited about paint drying. There's supposed to be an H here, but it's broken. But he taught me how to find better. If there were a champion in sucking, he would come first. I think he's subpar. When we spend time together, we usually ignore each other. I think it's really cool when he isn't with me. Whenever I sleep, people say I'm just like him. I wouldn't trade him for any other guy in the world because he buys me things. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you the most important thing about him. He tested positive for cooties and HIV. That might have also resulted in our breakup. The end. Wasn't that such a wonderful story, guys? I am so ready to send this to my special someone. Apparently I missed too many options, though. Story of my life when it comes to my love life, actually. Was too scared to approach, and so I missed out. Oh well. But yeah, so it seems like the actual e-cards themselves are not going to work. However, there is still one section of the e-card area, or the send 'em page, that I actually would be interested to see if it still works. So let me get back to that and I'll show you if it does. Well, so this is broken beyond repair. So these are the printable cards. I don't remember which section I clicked on and there's no indicator for it, so... Well, I'm going to guess that these are the different sections of the printables. Maybe... I can't see a single one. So let's just click on a couple of them and then go to print and see what happens. Insert heavy weight paper. Well, I can't even see the printed stuff, so I guess that's a dud too. The next section of this, which I'm not even sure if it's really going to work. I have seen forums and stuff like this still up from this time period, but the boards. Maybe we'll get to see some conversations that people had. So there are 3 different boards. Wishful thinking, which is attach your thoughts, wishes, and feelings to a star and send them to the sky. The giggle board. Got a joke to tell? Want to post it so everyone can laugh? Do it here. Heart to get. What are your secrets? Who is your crush? What do you feel for your best friend? Free your thoughts here. Worth posting in. I wish that I will have a most wonderful life. That needs to just be reposted all the time. Because I keep posting it out to the ether, to the universe. I mean, I guess it's trying. I'll give it that. It's trying, and it's trying to work around me, which isn't easy. But so I'm going to open up links for all of these just to see if any of them actually come up. Oh, so this one works. And it seems like this is kind of a game. It is funny because it says see the skies, which makes me think that this is like, see other people's wishes. Trying to see if there's a star I actually really like. I'm kind of partial to this one. The one that's just flashing in and out. Make a wish. Send my star. Is it actually gonna post? You missed too many up. Well, that was my wish. I wish I didn't have to pay taxes, so. Guess that wish isn't gonna ever come true now. But let me go back. Let me see if I can see other people's wishes. Or see if there's any other stars in the sky. Okay. So there's quite a few here. Teresa B, I wish that Lance Snotterly would talk to me and give me a kiss. I hope that worked out for you, Teresa. If not, well, I hope you learned a valuable lesson from it, I guess. Bianca, I wish that I could tell Cody that I am falling for Garrett. Is this... I don't even know how old this Bianca is, but I'm like, is there a game that I missed with this? And I'm just like, girly, are you cheating on somebody with somebody else or about to? Bailey, I wish I had a boyfriend. Me too, honey. To be famous, honey hack. I don't know what that wish stands for, but I feel like I just opened up the ether to some Cthulhu monster. Megan, I can always keep Cajun cheer in my heart for as long as I live. Was that your wish or was that a statement? Erica C, I wish I was skinnier. Oh, Erica, I mean, same, honey. But it's just, it always is saddening to see this statement for kids. Especially kids that are around that preteen kind of age. It's like, girlie, you shouldn't have to worry about that now. Really, you shouldn't really have... I mean, I get it if it's, like, for your health, but, like, I understand what this statement means, and she's basically saying, like, I wish I was prettier, but, like, because she thinks she's fat, and it's like, no, honey, you are perfect. I haven't even seen you, and I know you're perfect. You're perfect just the way you are. You've been, like, you know, lose a few pounds if you feel the need to, but if you feel the need to. Not because Susie Q down the street says that you need to. Been like, but because you feel the need to. Jamie, I wish I could go to Meeg's wedding. I don't know who Meeg's is, but I hope you made it. Carly, I hope I was 17. I hope I was 17. Carly, what drugs did you take that you just skipped 13 entirely? Man, some of these wishes are deep, man, for like little 10-year-olds. Erica, I wish that my family and I will be safe always. Erica, what war did your family fight in that you had to make that wish? I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish for safety for me and my family too, but like, I haven't been in anything that's made me think that. Like, it's just always been a given. If you get wishes for more. Monica, I wish Lance will ask me out. Who is Lance? Do Monica and Teresa B go to the same school and they're both pining over this Lance Snotterly guy? Merit, I wish I had 10 chocolate bars. I will say that's probably the one good thing about being an adult. I don't have to wish for that anymore. If I want 10 chocolate bars, I can have 10 chocolate bars. The only downside is that my body can't handle 10 chocolate bars anymore. So it's more like I'm going to have 10 chocolate bars over the course of maybe like 3 months. Because that's about how much, maybe, actually probably more like 6 months. And I'm at the point too where I'm a snob about my chocolate, that for the most part, unless it's like a Hershey bar where it's already pretty dense and pretty hard to break apart, most of my chocolate now goes in the fridge. Because now it doesn't taste good unless it's chilled. Jessica, I wish who I like likes me. You know what? That's actually a better wish. That is a universal, timeless wish. One that I wish would have come true at many points in my life. Amy, I wish Rhonda would be cooler. Who's Rhonda? Why do you wish that somebody else would be cooler? Why didn't you wish you to be cooler? Wasted wish, Amy. Jody, I wish I hadn't finished me Be Nick. Am so sorry, Mied. Whoa, messed up. I don't know what exactly this wish pertains to, but Jody seems to be going through some crap. 20 years later, I hope that crap has been dealt with. I hope you're in a better place now, Jody. Sammy Joe, I wish my room was finished. You know, the sad thing is, I've actually had this wish multiple times. I have been in unfinished rooms before, a lot in my house. Sometimes my family has projects that we do. And, yeah, the room just doesn't get finished or something like that. Yeah, this was probably a majority of my high school, actually, because for my birthday, my uncle redid my room, but then forgot to finish the loft bed. So I was on an air mattress for probably a good year before he finished it. That was fun. Chelsea, I wish that the kid that I like would go to the dance with me. That is one missed opportunity that even at 30 years old, I still kind of want. I never actually got to go to a dance or like a major kind of like formal event, like my prom or like, you know, homecoming or something like that. I never really got to go with anybody that I really liked. And I got to like dance with them. That's actually something that I still wish to this day, that I wish I could go to a formal event with, you know, someone that either I'm dating or that's my partner or something like that, and I get to slow dance with them. I still have not done that. And it might sound stupid to other people to have it on a bucket list or something like that, but I'm like, no, that is my bucket list. I want to go to a nice formal event with someone who loves me and that is not afraid to dance with me. Because a lot of times it was either I got one or the other. I went to the dance with somebody that I liked, but was, you know, it was one of my friends. And we danced, but it was more ironic, more like jokingly. Because we didn't have anybody, so we're like, we'll just dance with each other, that's fine. Or it'd be the thing of I could have gone to the dance with somebody that I liked or something like that, but they weren't gonna dance with me. They're like, no, it's fine, you go dance. I'm like, it's literally a ballad. And this is America. I'm not expecting you to do the waltz. I'm expecting you to put your hands around my waist and sway whatever hips you have. Not even vicariously. Just gently sway your hips. If you can't do that for me, what can you do? Jennifer, I wish Tony would love me, my knight in shining armor. Well, I hope it worked out with Tony. Facet, I wish I can make a best friend on KiddONet. That's actually quite wholesome. Kelody wishes that they were in California. No, you don't, Kelody. You don't want to be there. I mean, I know it was cool and hip back in like the 90s and 2000s. California was all this big thing. You don't want to be there anymore. It's not going well. People are moving out. And if they aren't moving out, the forest fires are making them move out. Rachel, I can keep a puppy. I think they mean to say like they wish that they could have a puppy. Like they could adopt a puppy. Amanda, I wish I could go to heaven. I don't know if there is a heaven, but whatever the heaven equivalent is, I wish I could go there after this one. Erica, I wish people would look at my homepage. Spider-Girl 709 is my username. Erica, this Erica. Not this Erica. And not that Erica, this Erica right here. She's going places. That girl grew up to go into marketing and to just, you know, market the crap out of everything. Maylin, I think. I wish my mom could be me a cell. I don't know what that means, but I hope it worked out for you. I hope your wish came true, whatever it was. Heart Dash Jamie. If I put my wish on here, someone else could read it. Jamie out here breaking the fourth wall for all of us. Reese, more Xbox games. Reese is out here wishing for the real stuff. They wish for more games. I can't read this one down here, but they're wishing that somebody would realize. I wish he'd realize. I don't know what secrets or trouble these people are in, but I hope that whatever it is that they went through is okay now. Jasmine, I wish my hair will be long when I take the braids out. I don't think that's how hair growth works. I'm sorry to say, Jasmine. I don't think that hair grows when you braid it. I'm sorry. Anna, I wish people would notice me. Oh, Anna. Well, Anna, I do hope that things are again going a lot better for you now. Brittany, I wish I could go out with you. Brittany's got some drama too going on. I'm imagining Brittany has a guy that she wants to go out with, but she can't because her daddy said no, because that man has no money, and I'm not going to give my daughter to some homeless vagrant who's not going to be able to provide for her. Hope it worked out, Brittany. Rebecca, to see past, present, and future. Rebecca's out here wishing to basically get clairvoyance. And again, I'm like, that's an even better wish than what I was wishing for. I wish I had had that. Oh, Heart Jamie had a second wish to put out there. I wish that someone could actually like me more than a friend. They might actually like you more than a friend. Just add an I in there. And now you have an actual friend. Jody, I wish I had 100 pounds. I'm gonna guess Jody is from the UK of some sort. To which, you know what? I also wish I had the equivalent of 100 pounds. Of money. Not weight. Money. Let me put that out there in the universe, because I'm gonna feel real bad if Jody made this wish and she was thinking like, 100-pound money and she got 100 pounds heavier. Remember, you gotta be specific with these wishes. Vivian, I wish that one day I could sing. Vivian, you don't gotta wish for that. Just do it. You just sing. I do it all the time. I've been singing since I was maybe 6, 5 or 6. I'd make full-on performances in the middle of pizzerias just because I could. Got a standing ovation, too. Sarah, I wish I can chat in the chat room. Sarah is having some technical issues, and she's just wishing for anybody to help her. I'm gonna guess this is Kirsten? I wish my boyfriend would kiss me. Oh, Kirsten's like, I got the mans. Now I'm just waiting on the kiss. And then Anna, different Anna, I'm guessing. I wish I wasn't so fat. Anna, it's okay. I again hope that worked out for you, and that either you no longer see yourself as fat, or if it was really bothering you that much that, that you worked it out in the long run for yourself. Not for somebody else, but for yourself. Let's make one thing very clear about this. I am not advocating necessarily for the idea of, oh, you shouldn't care about your body weight. Of course you should care about your body weight. It's directly linked to your health and how long you're going to live. You want to live a long life? Try not to be over 300 pounds. That's just kind of the basic thing. However, if you're able to walk and get yourself from point A to point B, your clothes fit, and it doesn't cause any health problems, don't be so upset about it. Well, I shouldn't say don't be so upset about it. If it upsets you, go ahead and do something about it. Do it for you. Don't do it for somebody else, though. Unless that somebody else is possibly your doctor who's saying you're going to have a heart attack or your heart's going to give out and you have less than 6 weeks to live. Then yes, do that for somebody else. But other than that, do it for yourself. Okay? Okay. So now we have the giggle board. So, of course, I don't have a joke to really write down. And of course, I can't think of any kid-friendly ones. So I'm going to go to the giggle board to get an idea of some jokes. Okay, so here are the jokes. I had to expand every single one of them on this page so that I could actually see the entire joke. But yeah, so let's look at some of these. Why did the dinosaur cross the road? Because chickens weren't around. Nah. Guy walks into a bar. Ouch. That was good, Arabica. How come you cannot play cards in the jungle? Because all of the cheetahs. That one got a smirk out of me. That was good, Mason. I imagine that these are all going to be dad jokes, to which I'm kind of here for it. So, to all you dads out there watching, here's some great inspiration for you. Why did the tomato blush? Because he saw the salad dressing. How do you make a sausage roll? Push it down a hill. Why didn't the skeleton cross the road? Because it did not have guts. Classic, but nah, not that great. Why couldn't the teenager go to the pirate movie? It was rated R. How do you find a cheetah? You spot it. Why do seagulls live in at the sea? Because if they lived at the bay, they would be called bagels. Have you heard the joke about the butter? I won't tell. You might spread it. Who was the first underwater spy? James Pond. Why did the girl eat her homework? 'Cause her teacher said it would be a piece of cake. Where do cows go to have fun? At the movies. Knock knock, who's there? Cargo. Cargo who? Cargo beep beep. Lillian. I've seen this joke already a couple times, but I love Lillian's here. Why didn't the skeleton cross the road? I don't know, because he didn't have guts. Get it? Guts? That's funny, right? Kate, what did the blue cheese say to the refrigerator? Close the door, I'm dressing. Why was the math book sad? Had a lot of problems. What did the skeleton have for dinner? Ribs. What kind of cheese is no yours? Nacho cheese. What did Della wear? Her New Jersey. Very much all dad jokes. A lot of duplicates. Some of them made me giggle. Some of them did. Some of them were pretty good, but not all of them. I'm sorry. I'm of a higher caliber now of jokes. You're gonna have to try a lot harder. And yes, please feel free to put your dad jokes in the comments, and I'll put a heart next to it if it actually got me to laugh. This one, I'm looking at this page and I'm like, oh, this one's actually coming back to me. I think I remember doing this one quite a bit, but obviously it was very cringy, I guess is kind of the word. But of course, let's see what everyone else's cringy secrets and wishes are. And yeah, so I guess there's a key next to all of these. I'm just seeing a lot of I love yous and hey dude. Let's see if there's any interesting ones. Chris and Brittany with the crying heart. See, I love you, but you're too far away. I'm not saying it's over. Chris and Brittany going through the real deal here. Is this the same Brittany from the Wish thing that was going through some crap? Annie and Sophie here, unfortunately. They're both like, is there anybody out there for me? I haven't found anybody. It's funny though, because Annie was using the secret admirer heart, but more so in the fact of like, they don't know where their love life is going. And I'm like, accurate. I also don't know where mine's going. Ryan and Evan, you hurt my feelings a little, but you kind of little made me laugh. Oh, this one's kind of wholesome. Mommy and Dad and Tiffany. I love you, and you're not old, just old-fashioned. Nathan and Naomi. Getting into the real racy stuff here. He is so hot, and he fell on me at recess. He's an 8th. That's embarrassing. It's cute, though. I mean, it's like a typical, like, anime thing that you see all the time. Like, where it's like, you know, like, somebody accidentally falls on the interest or the main character or something like that. And it's just like, oh my god, It's so embarrassing. He fell on top of me. I can't see who this is. But again, I'm loving these little drama ones. We both want to be more than friends. Dump Faith and ask me out. Poor Autumn and Sonja? Sonia? I'm not exactly sure how to say this name. I'm sorry if I butchered it. But I also hope that your relationship with Autumn is going better. Or it figured itself out. Because apparently they're asking, are you mad at me? And am I your best friend anymore? So see, it's not just about, just love between, like, romantic love. It's also about platonic love with people. I have no idea if this is the same person as the last one, whose name I couldn't see, but One Piece and Nami. I love you, but you love Faith. Just dump her. I know you love me. I am not very well versed in the One Piece lore and stuff like that. I know Nami is a character in One Piece, or I believe there is a Nami or a Naomi or something. But are we getting into that, like, cringy, like, anime lover thing where it's like people are not even just like, not even like cutesy, like, oh yeah, my favorite character, if I could date anybody, is this person. In like an alternate universe, I would date them or something like that. This is getting into like the, like, over the top, like I don't care what the actual canon lore is. The canon lore to me is that they're mine. And nobody else can have them, even though I realize that they're a fictional character. It's like, dude, calm down. I have met some people like that online. It's not a fun time. It's really not a fun time. Because you can't argue with it. Because you know full well that it's not correct. And you also know that there's just something not right up here either. And you're like, who hurt you? Are you okay? Of course. The usual story, though. Someone and Amy. There is a really cool guy in my grade, but he likes another girl. Yep. I've had that. I've been dumped for another chick, which, again, is never a fun feeling either. I'm getting a lot of breakup, things here, not so much. I mean, again, there's a bunch of I love yous and stuff, but it does seem a little bit more platonic, I guess. Cassie and Aaron, I don't know which one's to which, but one of them's into some real freaky crap. Someday, I know to pick your nose for you, and you could pick mine for me. Oh, there's two. There's duplicates. They really wanted their nose picked. Well, I'm sorry, Cassie and or Aaron. You're gonna have to pick your own nose, because not many people are willing to do that for you. Not in a sexy sense, unfortunately. Stuart and Natalie, one of them's given some really weird, like, offer. Tor, my one true love. Well, what do you mean Tor? Like, we're gonna take a tour about their entire life, or do you mean, like, take them out for a spin? One of those things I'd be okay with. It kind of more as in a historical sense. The other one I'm not really okay with. I'm not exactly into that kind of stuff, but if you are, I guess, but not at 10 or 13, however old you are, not this. And then boys and not telling. You have to find this key to get with me. That actually sounds like song lyrics, but I can't remember if they are. But I like that this person's playing a little hard to get. But yeah, so those are all the forums. Obviously, they're not like traditional forums where, you're posting about a topic and then someone's posting a reply back or something, you're asking a question or anything. Again, it's more kid safe. But now I think hopefully we'll get to go to the more fun bits if it'll work. Obviously, some of the images haven't really been working, but the ArtZone. Let's see if the ArtZone works. Okay, which seems like it's actually a bunch of games. So we've got the graffiti game, Gel Sparks, Smudger, Mosaic, and Sandcastles. Let's go left to right then, starting with graffiti. If it'll work. I don't know if it will. Nope. Does not work. Gel Sparks. No, that doesn't work either. Smudger. Smudger seems like it might actually work. You know what? I'm going for this lady because she seems the most interesting. I unfortunately can't do anything to it, but I love how the very first thing, especially after you're gonna smudge it up, the first sentence that comes out of it is, "I'm so beautiful." Oh god. Boys are crazy about me. Who's the fairest of them all? Miss America. I'm a goddess. It's not easy being the queen. Woman of the year. Woman of the century. Girls are crazy about me. Mr. America. I'm a god. It's not easy being king of the class. Man of the year. Man of the century. I'm the champ. There's no one like me. I'm so cool. What have you done to me? $1 million smile. Where's everyone going? I want to be a supermodel. Don't look at me like that. What are you looking at? I'm divine. I'm so perfect it hurts. Nobody's perfect. I'm melting. I'm so cute. It's not easy being me. Beauty isn't everything. I forgot what I wanted to say. I'm so confused lately. Perhaps you know a good dentist? How's my hairstyle? Want to be friends? I've got a great personality. I feel like without smudging, that is what I'd probably use a sentence on for that lady. And all I can think about is the scene in Emperor's New Groove. When Kuzco's going down the line, he's like, "Hate your hair, your outfit sucks. No. And he gets the last girl and he goes, "And let me guess, you have a great personality." Let's see, can we go to the gallery and see what other beautiful creations people have made? No, we can't. And I just tried Mosaic and Sandcastle and they don't work either. So, ArtZone, I guess, is completely out now. So, ArtZone doesn't really work, but let's see if the comics work. I'm wondering if there's actually going to be any comics or if those images are going to be gone too. That's if I can get to the comics page. Never mind. We're getting somewhere. Okay, so we've got a chip of this. Okay, there we go. So let's see. Comic slanguage. What is that? And actually, let me get all these up. So comic slanguage. So it looks like it's just like a little guide for how to make comic books, basically. So like the idea of like reading direction when you're doing text bubbles, so if you're writing obviously a American comic book, the speech bubbles have to go from top to bottom, left to right. There's also different types of speech bubbles to indicate different, accents or different volumes. Oh yeah, and then these onomatopoeias, body language, facial expressions, frame size, movement, color, and then perceptive and distance. Honestly, not bad. Seems pretty good, actually. Like this would be like a nice like little thing to, help somebody that wants to get into comic book making, like, kids or something like that. Little things that you can give to them and be like, oh yeah, this is typically how you make comic books. My question is now, do kids still like comic books? Because obviously back in the 90s and early 2000s, like, of course, those were things that, we had. Those were things that were typical. I'm kind of wondering, and I'm not talking manga necessarily, because manga for me is very different from American comic books. So obviously some stuff that I have in my repertoire, stuff that is just sitting in the background usually. So obviously this is a Japanese comic book, manga, but it's very different. Not only is it the fact of you read right to left instead of left to right, but the caliber and the art style and everything else is very different. This is an American comic book. Very thin. Comes in different issues. Typically also comes in color. Typically. And it's, again, the art style and the writing is a little different. It's typically a little bit more... typically not as serious, I guess. It's more lighthearted, it's more funny. Not to say that mangas can't be, because obviously this was actually quite humorous a lot of times. But this is a little bit more serious. This has a little bit more of a serious storyline. Mangas typically have a more serious storyline, whereas American comics, I found, typically have more of a lighthearted, whimsical, not as serious storyline. It's very much more comedy. But yeah. Just some things I thought about while seeing this. Okay, but the Chip and Oscar stuff doesn't really seem to be working either. The page is kind of empty. Let me see if I can... yeah. Picture's not even there. I don't even remember what this is. I think this was to build your own comic book, and it doesn't seem to be working. And these are all the comics that I think other people had made or something like that. And they're not coming up either. So of course, the comic stuff doesn't work either. Perfect. So here are the printables. Now, again, I'm not really holding out a whole lot of hope for any of these working. It would be great if they did. But of course, a lot of these images, like a lot of the printable stuff that we've had already, doesn't work. Like a lot of the images. So I'm not really sure what exactly is going to work here. But so we have different categories though. We have gifts, we have stuff for the room, games, cards, party invites, scrapbooks, stickers, and school stuff. Yeah, so let's see if we can at least view one of these. Again, I don't think we will, but we can try. Oh, we've got one for the biz cards. I guess we'll just do that one. Okay. Name. Dabbling in variety. Info. Where is the go to print button? I guess it's just right up in the corner. I was expecting it to be under here because the, line of... Anyways, what is my channel? I haven't actually had to type in my channel before. So now I'm questioning, actually, hold on. I was watching YouTube before. So let me just go to my channel real quick and copy the URL. Oh, I can't even put the entire URL in. Great. Yeah, that's good enough. Go to print. Wish you could see what that card looked like. Guess we'll never know. IOU coupons? I want to make IOU coupons. So there's quite a few here. I like this one. I owe you some quiet. But of course, we're never going to see it. Okay. Screen sitters? What are screen sitters? Are they just things that you put on your screen to cover it up? I have no idea. What about door hangers? We got door hangers? No. Wait. Nope. We got door hangers. Angry and frustrated. Accurate. So door hangers didn't work. I'm kind of interested about the games. The fortune teller. Does fortune tellers tell us anything? Oh, come on, you're not going to teach me how to make a cootie catcher? Cootie catchers were the best. You weren't a real 90s or 2000s kid unless you made a cootie catcher at least once in your life. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're not either one of those things. I'm sorry. I don't care if you were born in those eras. You're not a true 90s or 2000s kid. Guess we're not going to be able to enjoy that either. It is kind of funny, though, because... So, I want to know, because there were a lot of websites that actually programmed the MASH game. But I'm kind of wondering, did anybody play it on paper in school? Because I remember us playing it on paper. Like, and you can do either. It's not that hard necessarily to play it or to program it, so to speak. But it was just such a cute game that I just kind of wonder how many people actually remember playing it. Like, not on a computer. Let's see, cards. Do cards actually work? So there's party invites. Wired parties, though? Wired parties? I don't actually remember what wired parties are. They sound familiar, but if I had to guess, it's basically like a telephone party in a sense, where it's like, back in the day, they had these things called party lines, to which in the 90s and 2000s, I don't know if these were technically referred to as party lines. This is what I'm referring to as party lines. Basically, it was where basically a party of people could be on one line in a sense. Or in this case, for the 90s and early 2000s, they could be on the same call. So you could have, like, you'd be on your cell phone or you'd be like on your landline phone. And some phones allowed it, some phones didn't. We did this a lot when we wanted to see if someone liked us and we wanted to hear it. Or if we were trying to catch somebody in a lie, we would get into a party line. The person whose phone could actually make the multiple calls, they would call the person that was kind of like the targeted person, and you would sit on the other line. Like, either you would mute your phone if it had the capability, or you just stay really, really freaking silent. Like, you probably wouldn't even breathe, and you would listen to the conversation like you were some kind of spy. You can only imagine the amount of heartbreaks and screaming that there was when you figured out either someone didn't like you or that they were lying to you and you caught them in the lie. I'm not even gonna hold out for, like, scrapbook stickers or school stuff to even go through. Basically, anything now that has to do with any of the imagery, I'm just gonna say no to, because it very obviously is not there anymore. So let's go back to the homepage to see what else there is. Coming down to the last couple of them. So the KZoo. I do not know what the KZoo is, but I'm going to assume it has to do with animals. To which I'd be right. And it's all about pets, which is actually kind of cute. But apparently my browser doesn't support the active frames, to which it has to tell me that twice. But so we've got Ask a Vet. We can see questions and answers. We can get pet tips or just see stuff about the vet themselves. Let's open tabs for those. We got K animals. I don't know what those are. Send someone animal wisdom. Get off your high horse. Good piece of wisdom. Links of the week. I did not know there was that many links that we could meet all of them, but apparently let's go meet Coco. Not from the Pixar animated movie, Coco. These are with K's, not C's. We can also create a wacky animal, which I don't think we're going to be able to do. Pet Patrol? I don't know what that is. Can't see the top 20 pet names. Make your pet an internet celebrity. Oh, can we see videos of some of these people's pets? And the pet poll. Does your pet like to look in the mirror? Nah, could care less. I voted. It may not take it, but I voted. Some of these questions are off the bat. So these are the questions that were asked to a vet. First one, right off the bat. My cat has a swelled up eye. What's wrong with her? That wasn't the kind of questions I was thinking about. Like, I was thinking, like, oh, like, can cats eat tomatoes or something? Or, like, hey, is it safe to take my hamster out on a joyride in my bike? What's wrong with my rat? Please help. What should I feed my snap? These are the questions I was thinking more of. What should I feed my snapping turtle? Yeah. What are you doing? Get down. Thank you. There's a lot of really good questions in here, actually. I'm only going to pick a few of them to read. But obviously, feel free to explore these on your own. So I am interested to know, is it safe to paint a parrot's toenails? I have a 1-year-old yellow-headed Amazon named April. One day I painted her toenails, nothing happened. All of the nail polish is gone. But I just want to know if that was okay that I did that. Of course, Tweety Girl is expressing the art of it's easier to ask for permission than forgiveness. Instead of asking before doing it, she just went ahead and did it, and I was like, is it okay? Is my parrot gonna die? But let's see what the vet answered with. Animals react differently to certain substances than people. Nail polish could contain poisonous substances which could affect your parrot. It was lucky nothing happened the last time you did it, but I suggest you don't repeat that again. Save the nail polish for people and play parrot games for parrots. I do find that funny, though I do think that they actually do make pet-safe nail polish in case you wanted to kind of dress up your pet a little bit. I feel like I know of some people that actually do paint their parrots' toenails and stuff like that. Same thing with cats and dogs. I mean, granted, typically it's usually the caps you see, but I think some of them do actually have nail polish. Some of it might also be to help them from chewing them or something like that. I don't know. How long does it take female cocker spaniels to stop peeing on the floor? There's no details. But the answer, all puppies start developing a preference of where to do their business at the age of 2 months. It is the owner's decision where they prefer the pet to get used to it first. Training the puppy can be done in stages. First, getting them used to newspaper at home, and later on outside, or if the owners have enough time, they can train the puppy to go outside right from the beginning. It is important not to punish the puppy when it makes mistakes. This could cause behavioral problems later, but instead take it out and showing it the proper place. In addition, encouraging the puppy each time it gets it right helps it understand the good behavior. Training shouldn't take more than a few months if done properly. I'm glad in some ways that this last part is also mentioned too, to say that what the time frame is. Though again, pets, again, like children, are different, and it will take, it will take probably varying time. Some will probably pick it up faster, some a little slower. Also depending on the age of the animal. But I like that they say that average it should take a few months. If it's taking more than that, something's wrong. But yeah, I have also heard the idea of don't yell or scream at the puppy or your dog or something like that if it does go in the house or something. And the same thing, like, don't stick their nose in it. The reason being is because when you stick their nose in it, it means continue the behavior, go here. You're specifically showing them, I want you to go here. They said if you're gonna do that, you shouldn't. It's not exactly proper. But if you're gonna do that, you're supposed to take their fecal matter, put it outside where they're supposed to go, drop it on the ground, then stick their nose in it. Tell them, go there. Go outside next to tree. But obviously, you're supposed to be pairing this behavior with, encouraging behavior. When they do it correctly, give them a treat. But you have to do it every single time. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a treat, it just has to be some kind of encouraging behavior, such as giving them a treat, or, because animals can recognize facial expressions and vocal tone and stuff like that to indicate mood or if they've done something well, rewarding them with that, rewarding them with your praise, so that they know, oh, this makes my owner happy when I do it. Is it alright if I give my ferret a leave pain reliever? My ferret won't stop whimpering and just recently had babies. I could see it. They're upset that they had babies. I mean, typically it's a very happy thing, but I'm joking. I'm joking about that. About people not wanting babies. Some people don't want babies. That's okay. It should also be said that having children is not only a milestone, it is a challenge. But, it is very unwise to give any medication to your ferret without consulting your vet. Medicines that are good for people can sometimes kill animals. Consult your vet about your ferret's problem, and he, presumptuous of you to assume that the vet is a he, thank you, will help with solving the problem. Cancer in ferrets. Is it normal for two ferrets to bond so tight that when one is put down from cancer that the other stops eating and passes away? This happened to mine. My vet said she would eat again, but she didn't. She passed away after only 20 days. Is this mourning? And not mourning like the time of day, mourning as in like grieving. I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your ferrets. It is difficult to know whether your second ferret was sick too or was lonely, scared, and confused, so she stopped eating and died. In cases like this, an autopsy, which is an operation on the ferret after it died, might help us find out the cause of her death. And that is something that is kind of... It's kind of an interesting phenomenon, actually. Because people think, like, certain animals don't have feelings or that they don't bond or something like that, when in reality they do. Again, my knowledge is really mostly with cats, but, like, you do see this with cats too, where you'll have a bonded pair of two cats. One will die, and the other one will get extremely depressed. Or even the case of pet and owner, in a sense. The owner will have died, and the pet will then be, like, given to another family member or taken to a shelter or something like that. And the animal will just be extremely depressed and just won't eat, won't move, kind of idea. Like, they need more motivation to kind of, in a way, a reason to live. And as heartbreaking as it is, it's also kind of touching in a way that with us humans, we are not the only ones that form those emotional bonds with other people and creatures and stuff like that. It's also the animals around us that do that too. I'm honestly terrified for when one of my cats dies, and it's actually a looming thing in the back of my head, because I know it's something that I have to prepare for in a sense, because my cats, I mean, they're young in a sense where they're probably not going to die anytime soon. They got probably at least another 5 years in them. But I guess for me, when I think of my own lifetime versus theirs, 5 years just doesn't seem like enough. It doesn't seem long enough. So the idea that possibly within the next 10 years I'm going to have to face that is actually slightly scary for me. Because I'm wondering what's going to happen when one of them dies and I'm only left with one of them. Are they also going to become, really depressed? Am I going to have to get another cat to help them out? Also, how is it going to change my own lifestyle when I'm down to maybe one cat instead of two? This one, I'm interested to see the ones that are just, they don't actually have a question. It's just somewhere in the details. Please read. It is important. When we go snowmobiling, we take my dog. We let her chase after the snowmobile. Then we put her in the van and then we go. When we came back, she chewed the seatbelt, but no one knew it was her. But last week we went and she did it again. So we yelled at her. What should we do next time? Please answer back. Thank you. I love the answer though, because apparently you also yelled this at all of us. Yelling usually doesn't help. No, it doesn't. You could put some bitter tasting substances on the belt so that when she tastes it, it will be very bitter and she won't want to continue. Also called aversion therapy. Ask your vet for examples of stuff that you can use. When you return to the car and she hasn't eaten the seatbelt, praise her and give her a snack that will teach her that good behavior pays. It's funny too because I'm taking a few classes in psychology right now. Just because I really love psychology and stuff like that, and I wanted to get back into it. And it's funny how much I've learned from even just this intro class I'm taking. And it's funny too, like how much I can relate it to other species, not just humans, but also just animals like pets and stuff like that. Such as this idea that with a lot of animals, it's conditioning. You have to use conditioning in order to teach them certain behaviors. Conditioning in humans does work, but it's a little bit more complex. And very similarly, in order to keep that behavior going, you have to keep up with the conditioning. Otherwise, it goes into a thing called extinction, which is basically where the behavior just is no longer there. There's no longer a reason for them to want to do that behavior. This one I'm just adding in because it seems kind of pertinent to a lot of dog owners. Something that they probably should know, actually. Is something wrong with my dog? Please read quickly. My dog eats scraps from the table like steak, meat, deli foods, and stuff. Now he is losing his hair. Is something wrong with my dog? It is usually not advisable to give dogs food scraps. Some foods we eat are not suitable for them, and proper dog food is designed so that it supplies all of the nutritional needs of the dog. The fact that your dog is losing their fur could be a consequence of a food allergy that he developed or could have nothing to do with the food scraps at all. I suggest you take your dog to the vet, who will check him and treat him if needed. So, there's other reasons also why you should not be feeding scraps of food to your dog. Not only for the fact that obviously they might have a food allergy that you don't know about. And I'm not saying you can't feed them any scraps at all. I'm just saying that there are certain things you need to be careful of when feeding scraps to your dog. Such as the idea of you should not be feeding them scraps during the dinner. It should be afterwards or something. Or, give it to them in their bowl or something. Because if you give it to them during dinner or something like that, obviously they're going to expect it. Much like how when you sit at the dinner table with your family, you've been given a plate, you've been given food your entire life. If one day you're not given food, you're going to be really confused and be like, where's my food? Where's my plate? Same thing with a dog. So it's like, unless the point is that you want your dog to be eating with you during dinner, then, prepare a different plate or at least put it in a bowl that they usually eat out of so that they know that, okay, any and all food that goes into this bowl is okay to eat. The other reason why is because obviously if you feed them scraps off of your plate, they're then, not all the times, but sometimes the dog can then assume that any and all food is free for them to grab, and they might be tempted to jump up on the table or, snatch food out of children's hands and stuff like that, which is not behavior that necessarily most people want. Obviously, to each their own. I'm not necessarily trying to give advice to say, like, oh, this is how all dogs should be, raised and stuff like that. I'm just giving, like, the cause and effect kind of idea to say, this is what is advisable if this is the behavior that you want. My frog is dead. What can I do? Help me. Clouded eyes, smells like dead fish. His head is pointed to the ground. What happened? Hi, sorry to hear about your frog. It was probably sick and died. Put your frog in a plastic bag and bury it in the yard, or place it in the garbage. Well, Mr. Toad, it was nice seeing you. In the garbage. I feel like I give my frog a little bit more of a more organic burial. Like, I'd probably bury it in the ground as is, as well as the fact of, I probably wouldn't put it in the garbage. If anything, actually, I've seen people do this, but if you want to immortalize your small pets, even such as fish, I don't know if a frog will do this, depends on how big the frog is, but a fish, most organisms, obviously, are used as fertilizer. So you can buy a pretty plant and bury the animal underneath the plant so that the plant will then get the nutrients from the dead animal, and in a way, the animal will now be immortalized as a flower. So you can continue to take care of it for the rest of your life. And then when that flower dies, you just replant it again underneath something else because it's still a dead organism that another organism can get nutrients from. The cycle of life. This one, though. My cat gave birth to dead kittens. I don't know why, but she was having her period while she was pregnant. So when she gave birth, they were dead. What do you think that happened to her? First and foremost, she was not having her period. Even in human pregnancies, there will be blood. It just kind of makes sense. You're kind of being ripped in half. There probably would be blood. Your cat could have had a difficult delivery, causing the kittens to die, meaning the cat's uterus killed off the kittens. Infections and illness during pregnancy could also have caused the kitten's death. Sometimes the cause for the death of the kittens is found in an autopsy, which is an operation of the dead kittens to try and find the cause of their death. I am interested in this one. Can ferrets see color? Can they see colors like us? Examples: red, blue, yellow, green, extra, extra. I think you mean etc., etc. But ferret's eyesight is poor compared to its senses of smell and hearing. The ferret has not been studied, as have other animals from its family. However, its eyes have been compared to that of a cat, and it has a similar structure, meaning the ferret may be able to detect color. In any case, detection of color is of no real advantage in night hunting animals, such as the ferret's ancestors and family members, for example, the weasel. Yeah, so again, another question a lot of people I've seen going around for years is the idea of like which animals can see color and which ones can't. Because obviously dogs, as far as I know of, dogs can't see color, or at least not many of them. A lot of it's in hues of gray. Cats actually can see color, but not as many as humans, I believe, or they see them in actually different colors entirely. I know blues and I think greens are colors that they can see very well, but their actual eyesight itself actually isn't really great at all. So apparently, I think it's like they can really only see very clearly, like about a foot in front of their nose. I don't know why this is, and it has something to do with, like, obviously the cones in their eyes and basically how it works during night vision. Because obviously they do a lot of their hunting during the night. They're more nocturnal, as well as obviously during the early mornings. During the day, they're typically not hunting. I have had lots of bad luck with ferrets. What do I do to stop that? They ran away. Man, I'm real sorry about that. Ferrets are very active and curious creatures. I guess most of your ferrets just went to inspect the area and got stuck somehow, so they couldn't get back. That sounds awful. I would hate that. Like the idea of we're moving out of the house, move the fridge, and we find the freaking dead ferret from 10 years ago that I could never find. While your ferret is out of the cage, it is important to keep him in a room or rooms that have all windows closed. While sleeping, it is best for the ferret's safety that he sleeps in his cage. That way nobody will mistakenly step on him, and also he won't be able to get out and check the neighborhood. Also, presumptuous that you're assuming that this creature's gender is of male. That does actually point to something really interesting. Why is it that when we refer to animals, they're always males? Very similarly to vessels. Why is it when we refer to a vessel, such as a boat or a car, it's always a she, it's always a woman? Very weird. I'm interested to know the history behind those ways of thinking. So what can I do to keep my pet snail, Shelly, from eating dead stuff? So dead insects are actually part of your snail's normal diet, so don't worry about her eating dead stuff. Unless the insects were treated with insecticides. In this case, it's important to remove the insects. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure they're supposed to eat the dead insects. They're bottom feeders, I'm pretty sure, so they eat the dead stuff at the bottom of the tank or the sea. That's usually where dead stuff falls. My cat gets jealous a lot and she doesn't want to share me. Please help. We went to the zoo. Wait. We went to the zoo and I brought her? I started petting a horse and she arched her back and hissed at the horse. I closed her out of my room because my friends were over and she scratched my door. The scratching the door thing is not necessarily part of a jealousy. Olaf has pretty much scratched the heck out of my door to the point where half of it is missing on the other side. You can't see it, thankfully. Because when he gets locked out, it's like do or die for him. Mango just doesn't care. I mean, he wants in, but he also doesn't care. Cats are territorial animals, and when you take a cat out of its territory, it acts in different ways. Your cat felt very insecure and also frightened by the sight of a big and unfamiliar horse. Her reaction is only natural, and it is usually unadvised to take a cat out of its territory unless for medical treatment. Although there are a few cats that you could take out depending on their personality. As for scratching the door, your cat is used to being in your room, so naturally, she regards your room as part of her territory. Let her come in on condition she doesn't make trouble and show your friends how to handle her. Jeez, some crow. I mean, I'm glad there was a place for kids to ask these questions more immediately and get answers for it instead of having to like call up a vet or something. You know, and just have it be like even just normal questions. Such as the idea of like, what does my animal eat? What should they eat? What is normal behavior for them? What's not? But just some of these questions, and I mean, it's again, like, they're kids asking these questions, so it makes sense, but it's just kind of funny, some of the questions, like, tell me all the information on iguanas, please, thanks. But I'm like, again, I'm glad that there's a place that kids could have gone to get this information. Proper information, too, by an actual certified vet. Okay, so the next page that we have kind of looks like a how to take care of your pet page, I guess. It just starts off with taking care of a new animal can be fun, but it's also a big responsibility. Different animals have different needs. Here are some tips to make those first few days easier and more enjoyable for you and your pet. So do's. Take your pet to your vet for a couple checkups as soon as you get it home. In the case of coming home from a shelter, it is actually mandatory and required in order for you to keep the pet. You need to have it checked in within 2 weeks. At least that's how it was with mine. Be extra patient and loving in the beginning until your new pet settles down. Then be a horrible pet parent. Before doing anything unusual to your new pet, e.g. giving a bath, always ask your veterinarian's advice. Play with your new pet before you go to bed at night. This way your pet will get tired and sleep better at night. It might not wake everybody up at 5 a.m. If you have very young children around, make sure you teach them how to handle a new pet. A young animal that is mistreated, even unintentionally, can unfortunately become vicious. It's important for young kids to learn that pets are living creatures and need to be handled gently. That is definitely something that is really important. We had a dog, actually. She was a shelter dog. But, she was fine. She was fine for a while. We had a family outing. And I don't think necessarily it was the parents' fault. It was just the fact of, we didn't really see the kid do it until, obviously, it was too late. One of the young children that were there were kicking the dog. Or something like that. And, the dog did not like it. So from that point on, and this is the thing, is that obviously, unlike humans, animals do not make the association to say, this specific person is someone I don't like. It's more of a generalized association. So literally anybody that was 3 feet tall, this dog hated. We actually had to tell other family friends that had small children, been do not bring your kids to our house, unfortunately, because we have this dog. We did transfer her to somebody else, but it was the thing, we told them, we're this dog, because of an event that happened to them, they don't like small children anymore. They will become very vicious and want to eat them. Don't bring them over. So it was really, really sad, because the dog on her own, with adults and everything, perfectly fine. Anybody 3 feet tall, though, she will eat. So yeah. So the don'ts: don't pick your pet up just after it's eaten. Really, don't pick up anything after it's eaten. Even babies. Let it settle. Don't ever give your pet a toy that it can swallow or chew into small pieces. Again, another thing that you shouldn't do with babies either. Don't give your pet highly seasoned foods, because they almost always give the animal an upset stomach. In general, you should only use pet food for your pet. No one has ever proven that an animal gets bored with what they are eating. I think there has been some evidence that animals can get bored with certain foods or certain flavors or something like that. I know with my cats, with certain types of food, their dry food they love, but the wet food they get a little pickier on. Not just because of the fact of basically if it makes them sick or not, but there are some flavors, and I remember I had recorded it down the first 2 or 3 weeks because I was trying to get them onto wet food. Because they were shelter cats, though, unfortunately, they kind of were more prone and preferred dry food. They still like wet food, but they don't eat it as consistently as their dry food. The wet food they would become picky at for some of it. Some flavors they would eat maybe for a day or two, and then they kind of were okay, I'm bored of this, I want something else. Yeah. So there is some evidence to say that, not just from my experience, but just also other pet parents' experiences and stuff like that. There are some, but not many. So as much as I want to see all of these, I'm not going to. I'm just going to look at the cats, because obviously that's what I have. I'll leave the rest for anybody else who wants to look at any pets that they have. But also, sorry to those who raise, tarantulas, bearded dragons, sugar gliders, or literally any other exotic animal. Or fish. Sorry, fish owners, you don't get a page. Oh, so it's technically all on the same page, it's just a section. But so for the cats, give your cat a scratching post or some place where it is okay for it to sharpen its claws. Do not declaw your cat if you're going to let it outside. Just don't declaw your cat at all, actually. Feed your kitten only commercial kitten food. Do not give it cow's milk. Yeah, do not. That is another thing that is actually quite funny about cats, is the things that we learn about in cartoons. Half of it actually is not true. The whole thing that cats like fish, and the whole thing that cats like milk. Two things actually that they actually really don't like. Many cats have a shellfish food allergy, as well as many cats are actually lactose intolerant. I don't know where the cartoons got this idea from, but yeah. Don't give them really any sort of cow's milk or anything. I think goat's milk has been vetted to be okay, but don't take my word for it. Typically, just try to stay away from milk. And obviously, the declawing, don't declaw your cat. It's actually seen as very inhumane, especially nowadays. The reason why is because it's the equivalent of cutting off your finger at like one of these two knuckles. So basically, your cats are walking around with nubs. So these are just my regular fingers, but it's like, imagine you trying to go about your everyday life with nubs that short every day. All of your fingers. Imagine just trying to pick something up. Like I can't really do it with just nubs. I can't pick up objects. It also kind of throws off their center of balance too. So that's another reason why. Clean your cat's litter pan every day and change the litter every 3 to 4 days. With certain types of litter, this is just a good rule of thumb anyways. I actually have an automatic cat litter box that cleans itself, and it uses crystal litter. So it doesn't get as dirty as fast. So typically I can change it out every week to 2 weeks. But thankfully it does do a lot of the cleaning for me. So I will say that if you're like me and cleaning the litter box is probably like one of the things that you hate doing the most for pet care, go ahead and spend the extra money and just get an automatic cat litter box. It will save you a lot of hassle in the long run. It's a little bit of money you got to put out, but you think about it when I guess I see it as in the long run, technically with the crystal litter, at least the one that I'm getting, you can find good deals with crystal litter. And the same thing too is that you will be saving money in a sense, because if you have to change the litter out every 3 to 4 days, and you have just sand litter or clump litter, you're probably going to be throwing it out a lot more than you will be crystal litter. But yeah, so there's really not much on the animals itself. They're just really small blurbs. Of course, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to stick with the cats. But so far, those are really good tips. There's a lot more out there for cats, though. So I wish that they would have provided a little bit more. But good for what they have, I suppose. Okay, and this is the veterinarian that I believe is answering all the questions. My name is Dr. Irit Ian? Sorry if I butchered your name, I'm trying. And I am a veterinarian. My specialty is small and exotic animals. I learned to be a veterinarian in South Africa, Israel, and the United States, and today I have a veterinary medical center in Israel. I treat many sick and injured pets and help healthy animals stay healthy. I also help pet owners learn how to care for their pets, how to prevent problems and diseases, and what to do when their pets are not well. I decided to be a veterinarian when I was 12 years old. My dog, who was suffering from arthritis, was in terrible pain. My family and I tried to help him with all kinds of medications and treatments, but unfortunately we didn't succeed. At that time, I decided to learn to be a vet so I could help those animals that couldn't talk and suffered. I cared about the animals on our planet. When people started to domesticate wild animals, this gave me many privileges, but also many responsibilities. Pets give us company, joy, friendship, unconditional love, help, and protection. But by taking the animals out of the wild, we become responsible for giving them shelter and food. But that is not all. Our pets need our company too. They need to be played with and petted, cared for when they are sick, and most of all, loved. For some of us, they are our best friends and part of the family. It's slightly joking, but it's also slightly not joking. So again, I will say another reason for why I don't have children at this time is because I basically look at my cats and say those two are my sons. I love my cats as much as I probably would love a human child that I birthed. And it's very much, I treat them like my sons, in a sense. I mean, I recognize that they're animals, that they have very different needs from like a human baby. But they're like my sons. If they have a cough, well, kind of a cough, a hacking thing, if there's vomiting, if they don't look like they're feeling well, if something's off, I am panicking. I am like ripping out my hair trying to figure out what's going on. I am also cursing at them. Well, cursing. I don't really curse. But I'm cursing them, in a sense, when I have to bring them to the vet and it's nothing. Or the vet telling me, you really didn't even need to come in. You could have fixed this with like an Advil or something. And been like, are you serious? Or, the pet equivalent of Advil. And been like, really? Really? But I worry a lot about my cats. Like I would like an actual child. I don't know if this should have been the name of this, but welcome to Canimals. It sounds very similar to cannibals, which doesn't make me very happy to be here right now. Like animals, try Canimals, KiddONet's humorous wildlife activity. Check out these amazing animal facts and win medals. How? Choose a canimal, read the canimal cards, and answer the quiz at the end. Answer all the questions correctly and get a medal. I mean, I guess I could try this one at least. I don't know how long it is. I don't even know if it's gonna work. Nope. Not even gonna work. Kind of sucks, actually. I was actually looking forward to showing off my animal knowledge. Not that I wasn't already doing that. I think these are like the e-cards again, and this is an animal one. I can't see the card, but I love how this is what I got graded to was I was confused. My mistake. You're pardoned, I guess? But we already know that the e-cards aren't going to work, unfortunately, so I have to skip it. But interesting to know that they're there too. So a lot of the other pages aren't working. This is the only one that seems interactable with. I don't know if I'll be able to actually complete it. But so this is the Pet Patrol. Show your animal awareness and how much you care about animals. Take this questionnaire and see if you can be a member of KiddONet's Pet Patrol. Answer correctly and get your own Pet Patrol certificate. Okay. Okay, there is like a send. I want to see if I can be the part of the Pet Patrol. I can leave my pet in the car for a few minutes. Only in the winter, only in shade, only if the car windows are slightly opened. Only if the car windows are slightly open and the car is in the shade. Yes, technically you shouldn't be leaving your animals in the car anyways. Basically, the biggest rule of thumb that I've taken about having pets, it doesn't matter what pet it is, but specifically like for like dogs and stuff like that. Most pets, though, only have the mental capacity, typically around the same mental capacity of like a 3 to 5-year-old. Typically around like a 3-year-old, though. So anything you wouldn't do with a small toddler, don't do to your pet, is essentially the rule of thumb I've gathered. So what do I do if I see an injured animal? Seek adult help or call the local animal shelter. Drag the injured animal off the road. Try to comfort the animal by patting it on the head. Apply first aid to the injured animal. Well, probably seek an adult and call an animal shelter because they probably are more qualified to deal with that kind of thing than I am. And typically, again, same thing with humans. If you see someone that is injured, unless it is like an imminent danger kind of thing, like, they're going to get run over or something like that, or they're bleeding out, typically not supposed to touch them, especially if they're unconscious. Don't touch them. If they are not in immediate danger, in a sense, like they're going to get run over by a car or something, or, they're bleeding out heavily, don't touch them. Half the times what happens is when people try to help that don't have the professional know-how, or something like that, they typically end up making it worse. So just call an ambulance, call medical help or whatever, and just wait. Just sit there and supervise, I guess. When should I walk my dog on a leash? When I feel like it, at all times in the city. If I see my friends walking their dogs on leash, only if my dog is disobedient. I'm gonna guess it's technically all the time. When should I provide fresh, clean water for my pet? When the water bowl is empty, when the water bowl is nearly empty, when it looks dirty, my pet should always have plenty of fresh, clean water. I mean, they should. Technically, these are all correct. There really should be a, option E, all of the above, which I guess D does kind of encompass it, but it's like, if it looks dirty, clean it, provide fresh water. If the bowl is nearly empty, and you think about it, probably fill it up again. When the bowl is actually empty, fill it up again. Let's see, what should I do if my fish starts to swim on its side? Call a vet. When is it okay to declaw a cat? It is never okay to declaw a cat. What do I do if I see two animals fighting each other? Try to separate them, pour cold water over them, seek adult help, shout at them to stop fighting. Typically, you're supposed to seek adult help, but where I am the adult, it is now try to separate them. A bird flies into your house and cannot find the way out. What do you do? Wave your arms to chase it away, open all the windows to let it escape, close all the curtains and turn out the lights. Sit tight and do nothing. Pretty sure it's just open up all the windows. I do the same thing when bees enter the house. A friend offers you a protected species of bird. You accept the offer, take the bird and sell it for profit, persuade your friend to hand it over to the natural protection authorities, release the bird and set free. Yeah, you need to hand that over to the authorities. You and your friends see a big snake in the yard. Chase the snake, call the police, run away, call the local snake catcher while your friend keeps an eye on the snake from a safe distance. Probably going to call the snake catcher. What should I do if my pet eats poison? Take it immediately to the vet. What food shouldn't I give my rabbit? I did not see the thing with rabbits. I know it's chocolate. They should not have chocolate. They really shouldn't have meat either, I'm pretty sure, because they're herbivores. But I really don't know about lettuce. But considering A and C are correct in that they shouldn't have those things, I'm going to assume that D is the correct answer. Send. Sorry, you need to work on your animal awareness. To be a member of the KiddONet KZoo Pet Patrol, you need to answer 10 questions out of 20. You only answered 0 correctly. What do you mean? I have a feeling it's not programming correctly to take the answers. Because obviously, like with the e-cards and everything, it told me like, oh, you need to fill out everything. It's like, but I did. I did fill out everything correctly. And it just didn't go through. So, oh well. I guess I'm not going to be on the Pet Patrol. Okay, so one of the last sections is homework help. I don't imagine this is going to be anything too extensive or too, like, exciting, I guess. It actually looks like most of the page is broken. Let's see if it can see anything about algebra. Math. Search. It found nothing. Very helpful. What about these little things on the side? There are a number of ways for you to count. Fantastic. What about other things about math? Oh, look, algebra, that thing I was looking for. Dave's math tables and interactive mathematics online. Algebra. Use this great resource to find information about algebra. Find some algebra basics and functions in these pages. Okay, I can't put them in different tabs, so this is going to be fun. Dave has nothing for me. Great. What about mathematics? The interactive stuff? Nothing. How about we move to technology? Is there anything about technology? Invention Dimension. Be inspired by the Lemelson MIT Awards Program Inventor of the Week. Inventure Place, the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Discover the inventor in you. Search for inventors from A to Z and inventions too. I want to know what sailor came up with Silly Putty. To which we shall never know. It'll be lost to the times of history. Well, to whoever made it. You really did go down in history. Okay, so that is it. That is everything from the KiddONet of 2005. I went to go look at KiddONet Junior, but I thought to myself, you know what, I'll save that for another video because it looks like we have to download the browser thing in order to really do anything with it, and I glanced at it, and much like the rest of the KiddONet website, a lot of it's broken as well. So I'm hoping I'll have a little bit better time if I can actually download the program. Don't know if I still can, but I'm definitely going to try. Other than that, though, the last thing I want to do is I want to go back to the Wayback Machine and see what the most recent crawl time was for this site. Basically, when it was standing on its last leg, what was it like? Well, okay. Of course, as I suspected, nothing came up. I went so far as starting from 2023, as that was the last crawl time for this website. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that KiddONet was actually still up and running. It could just mean that the company still had the, license to the product in a sense, and still had it patented, and technically still had the servers there. That doesn't necessarily mean that it was necessarily up and running. If I had to guess, I'm going to actually assume that probably, and it's a kind of a big guess, and I tried looking it up to see when exactly KiddONet actually shut down. My guess is anywhere between 2012 and 2019. So from the 2022 and the 2023 range, currently KiddONet redirects to this site, Gaming Wonderland, which looks like it's a site that's still up today. I don't believe that this is probably what KiddONet was necessarily, only because obviously the company's still not correct. That's not to say that the company couldn't have been bought out, but just saying that I don't think it actually redirects this. There's a lot of things that sometimes it will redirect to. A lot of people, sometimes if they can't find a site, they'll have it redirect to Google. That doesn't mean Google owns that website. It just means that's what the site said to redirect to. In 2019, the site also redirects to this search engine, I think. The My Way default. I don't even know what this is. But obviously, KiddONet was not up and running at this time. However, at the beginning of 2019, so My Way default was really the end of 2019. The beginning of 2019 is when we see this message about the GirlSense team, discontinuing. However, though, 2018, 2017, 2016, and all the way back even to 2012 is, you still get the same message when you go to KiddONet in the Wayback Machine. Technically, KiddONet was still technically available, was still up, according to the Wayback Machine, from 2012 to 2019. I don't know if all of it was still accessible. So I went back and I was like, still, is there any place where it was accessible? What was the last accessible means for KiddONet? The closest one I could find was in 2008, when you got greeted to this page, the front page, which with the recognizable banner still, that said that KiddONet and GirlSense was now wrapped in one and GirlSense was now free. I'm sorry. What? It's now free. It was free in 2008. So I would have been 13, 14-ish around that time. Still would have met the age range. Nope. Couldn't enjoy that. But of course, there's really not much of the homepage, obviously. You can go back to see the original homepage, or at least there's a button that says you can. But it doesn't seem to respond. It does seem like you still get quite a bit of the same activities and stuff like that that you got before. There's some that are a little new, like anime gallery. And I do have some recollections of this, because I would see people create it in graffiti, and then it would come up here. So I think obviously this is when anime started to become more of a thing with our age group. But of course, none of the pictures work still. But I was really interested to know. So, okay, so that's kind of like the last known, at least for my end, this is the last known accessible KiddONet site back in 2008, 2009 era. What was the earliest? Because they had said that the site had been up since 1997. Well, according to the Wayback Machine, they were getting snapshots, as far back as 1998 and 1999. I did try to click on one of these. It did redirect me, though, to one of the 2000s editions of the website. And this is apparently what it looked like back then. I could not tell you exactly what KiddONet was back in 2000, because this is a little weird to me. Download the whole KiddONet package, but yet you have all these links and everything else on the side here. But this is going to do it. I have been recording for over 4 hours. There was so much to go through on this website. But it was great to come back and revisit this. It's such a vague memory that I have of this site, because I wasn't on it for very long, of course. Only for maybe like a year or two, and then I had other things that were taking up my time and other websites I wanted to play. This was such a great trip down memory lane for me. Many of my other friends, and even some of my family members that were around the same age as me, don't remember this. So it's almost like I felt like this was going to be like forgotten to the sands of time and everything. So mostly why I wanted to cover this on this video. But obviously, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I, again, enjoyed this, going down memory lane for this. If you guys have any memories of this game, please let me know in the comments down below. If you were part of the GirlSense, club and everything like that, let me know what was that like, because obviously I will now never get to know that. Even when it was free, which I'm still seething at. Part of my inner child that's never going to heal. Also, let me know of some of your memories of things that, some of the games and the activities that you used to play on this. And of course, I will leave a link in the description below for the Wayback Machine's URL to get there if you would like to explore the website on your own. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.